this idea that the tropics will be sort of what's now would be considered record heat almost every year, and that there's no other way to cool the Earth than these solar geoengineering things, I think gives at least the possibility that there could be intense political pressure to deploy these things. Let me just say something about social acceptability. I heard somebody talking about different particles that could be put in the sky to try to reflect sunlight, and somebody said, so there's that one of the forms might be some kind of carbon in the form of a diamond, but a certain point, I don't know what is 0.1 micron, little tiny things, and people think, okay, people will never put up with this, but if the American population put up with kidnapping and torture through the extraordinary rendition program, with surveillance of all our telecommunication and our movement. And when it was announced post facto, most Americans were fine with it. And I think if a political leader announced, oh, we started putting diamonds in the sky to protect you, I think if they put up with kidnapping and torture, they'll likely put up with diamonds in the sky. So I think this idea that people are not going to accept these things is maybe overly optimistic.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that this goes on barely recognized by the average person. It's never discussed. It's never a policy issue. And so, a lot of times we think, oh, if we started trying to alter climate or the weather, it's going to be a huge political discussion, but we've been altering the weather in the western U.S. and nobody cares. And so the question is, would people, if people really started putting aerosols above the Arctic to save Arctic sea ice, would people really care outside of a small group of educated and informed, politically minded people? But would the average person who watches television at night care? I don't know. It's hard to say. And
the little picture is from a nanofabrication study, which shows you can make very high quality, and do this in just a jet in a very simple way, make high quality alumina particles just by spraying aluminum vapor out, which oxidizes. So it's certainly in principle possible to do that. Mental effects will look. And that's a good thing, because right now it looks too easy. So I think that if we do more research, we're likely to find out that it's harder and more complicated than we thought, and the side effects are harder to manage, and that's a healthy outcome that will make it easier to do the management. It's an empirical question, how people will actually react to knowledge about this. Another reaction is to say, if these crazy scientists are so concerned about putting CO2 in the atmosphere, they want to think about these things, then that might actually mean we should be more serious about the risks of CO2 in the atmosphere. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids.
TV station. There's already no shortage of unclassified weather modification programs by the government. But those who fear chemtrails could be secret biological or chemical testing on the public point to the 1977 Senate hearings in particular, which confirmed 239 populated areas had been contaminated with biological agents between 1949 and 1969. Later, the 1994 Rockefeller Report concluded hundreds of thousands of military personnel were also subjected to secret biological experiments over the last 60 years. But could secret testing be underway yet again?